allowed to. It's about what you're producing on the pitch. It's around a group of players, who's playing great, who's not playing too good. Jack, you're in that line at the moment, your form's not great, so
what changed for Grealish on the pitch? Why haven't he been performing?
It's just, I think the positions that he's playing in, I think the team stood in as well. He's, like I said, we're not seeing the Jack that we saw at Aston Villa.
Yeah, but there's something deeper. And he gave a debut to someone in the FA Cup final off the bench instead of bringing on Jack Grealish.
Well, that comes down to, it's not that Jack's not good enough, it's the relationship that them two have got. They've now come to terms with my career doesn't lie at Manchester City anymore. Pep saying you're not going to be in my plan next season. It's simple that.
It's a cup final. Do you really think about, well, he's not going to be here next season, so I won't bring him on? It's not a development game, is it? It's not a pre-season game. It's a chance of winning a trophy. You can't let the manager think like that.
He sees him being there. He sees him in training. He sees him in games. So he knows what he's got and what he's working on. And Jack's not in the mind. And also, if his confidence is low, then he's seen it. So he's probably thinking, well, I will see this other hungry player who's going to give a bit more fire. I'm going to play him instead. Because what you're giving me is not what I'm used to.
Are saving a third more lives. Do you approve of more 20-mile-an-hour zones?
No.
That was a DM on Instagram. Thank you for that, Annie.
No, I don't. I think I'm perfectly happy to have 20-mile-an-hour zones around schools and maybe one or two other places where people or notorious accident black spots. But blanket 20-mile-an-hour speed limits are utterly ridiculous. Why settle on 20? Why not settle on 1? Because if you want to minimise the number of injuries and deaths, you reduce it to 1 mile an hour and have somebody walking in front of the car with a red flag.
A third more lives have been saved, including mine, because I walked out of a pub, darling, in Mayfair, engaged solely with my telephone, and I would have died had the car...
That would have been your own fault.
It would be my own fault, but I'm really glad I'm still alive.
Well, so am I.
And I like to think maybe a couple of listeners are pleased, aside from all the ones that just, give me aggro. Do you know what I'm saying,
Do you not understand the logic of what I'm saying, though? Because there is always a risk. The moment you set foot outside your front door, there is a risk to you in one form or another. If we want to really save lives, let's abolish all buses, because if you go in front of a bus at 20 miles an hour, you'd be dead.
Do you know what's really interesting is the numbers of cars on the road has consistently increased, and safety and deaths and fatalities have decreased in the same instance. It's absolutely insane. One of my favourite childhood books is Wind in the Willows, with crazy Toad of Toad Hall, and he gets in his fast car and he goes poop, poop, poop. And that was literally what it was like. The bigger the car, the smaller the road, the faster you could go, the more deaths. Staggeringly, it was the Black Hats that killed way more people than the Luftwaffe, obviously, at the beginning of World War I. Quite bonkers. The King's surgeon writing in the British Medical Journal in 1939. World War II, forgive me. King's surgeon writing in 1939 complained that, quote, by frightening the nation into Black Hat regulation, the Luftwaffe was able to kill 600 British citizens a month without even taking to the air. The number of deaths peaked in 1940 at 9,169. One person died that year for every 200 vehicles on the road. Today, the figure is 1 in every 20,000. 2 of my Century girls that I wrote about were born in 1918. 2 of them have been knocked over by a car in the 1930s. Both survived to tell the tale. It's just what happened. Oh, bit of a light dusting from an automobile earlier today. Modernity, eh? What? It's just brilliant. I mean, awful, but brilliant.
I got knocked over by a car when I was about 14 on Parker's Piece in Cambridge. And there was a bus. And I didn't realise there were 2 lanes of traffic, and there was a car sort of overtaking the bus. And as I walked out in front of the bus, which was stationary, I didn't hit the front of the car, otherwise I would be dead now. I hit the above the wheel, the wheel rim, and it knocked me in the air, which was quite unpleasant.
Good heavens.
but I survived.
By 1930s, the government were legislating for anarchy. They still couldn't get their head around cars being killers. Mind you, we had the highest smoking population in the world. 80% of men at that time smoked in Britain. So we were all up for early death. There was a war just around the corner. That was just going to be a mere incident, of course. Arguing in a rather circular fashion that year for the abolition of speed limits for cars, which happened, by the way, the abolition of speed limits, the Transport Minister, Herbert Morrison, pointed out, and I quote, "There was not one of their lordships who observed the speed limit, and it is probably true to say that there is not one member of the House of Commons who observes the speed limit. I venture to say that as legislators, we are not entitled to enforce and to continue speed limits."
And you can hear lots more from Tessa Dunlop and myself by subscribing to the Where Politics Meets History podcast on Global Player and the LBC app. Coming up in the next hour, it's Tuesday's Cross Question. I'm joined on the panel by Lucy Fraser, former Conservative Culture Secretary, David Aronovich, journalist and broadcaster, Emma Sinclair, tech entrepreneur, who's the Chief Executive of Enterprise Alumni, and Ollie Dugmore, Editor-in-Chief of the news and entertainment website joe.co.uk. They are here to answer all of your questions. The number to call 0345 6060 973. You can WhatsApp us on that number, text 84850, and of course you can watch us on Global Player and the LBC app.
On your radio, on the LBC app, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 8 o'clock, detectives believe the car that drove into crowds at Liverpool Football Club's parade yesterday had followed an ambulance through a roadblock. Merseyside police say 11 people remain in hospital. They've been given extra time to question a man on suspicion of attempted murder and drug driving. The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has been visiting Liverpool and